Thank you, Rich, and what incredible testimonies. Really, really heartfelt, but also, I think, a perfect example of why citizen assemblies are so important. I mean, just in the two testimonials, we've seen a variety of different joined up thinking that we don't typically get when we actually speak to policy leaders and when we look at the multilateral system. The fact that actually Anna has decided to go back and set up her own community citizen assembly. The fact that it was fair and impartial, but it also opened up a variety of different dialogues and discussions that wouldn't have happened, not only at the community level, but also between different communities across the globe. Hence also why global citizen assembly is so important, in addition to national and community citizen assemblies. My role, having been president of the Club of Rome, but also through all the work that I do, is to join the dots. And when I see about the global citizen assemblies, that's exactly what it does. It not only joins the dots, but it joins the emotions, it joins the heart, it joins the soul, it joins the people in place with other peoples in place. Because what we tend to do, working in particular in the area that I work on policy, is that we categorize people as sectors, we categorize them as different actors, rather than categorizing them as living human beings. So that is one of the most important aspects of why the Global Assembly is fundamental in changing the discourse that we have today. The number two very important aspect is obviously showing a mirror of what people are actually thinking back to policy leaders, back to others, on key themes like farming and agriculture, knowing full well that our food systems are fundamental in the underbelly of the way in which we can thrive, not just survive. Not only are our food systems under threat, but our urban and also in particular rural communities are under threat in a variety of different ways. And we have not been able to actually join the corridors to join up these different communities. And this is a way to personalize, but also to share the personal stories and the understanding of what farmers are going through with others, including with policy leaders, as they typically get lobbied by the big agricultural producers rather than truly have an understanding of what people are feeling and thinking on a daily level. The third important aspect of this is the way in which it relates to the discussions, as you mentioned, Rich, around COP reform. Myself and Johan Rockström, chief scientist on climate issues, wrote a letter already 4 years ago to the UNFCCC calling for reform of the COP. Both of us have been involved in discussions around agriculture and food as being one of the key aspects of the insecurity that human populations are going to be feeling, not only as the AMOC and El Nino starts to hit full throttle, as we've seen this week and last week, but also as we do not prepare for a more regenerative shift in terms of our agricultural practices. Through a book that we wrote together, Earth for All, A Survival Guide for Humanity, we again joined the dots between the need to address decarbonization, but understand the transformation within the food system and also the energy system and its relationship with inequality and poverty. To be able to bring the voices of farmers, of people on the ground who are actually dealing with these key issues. This has been on farming and food, but it can be another theme that you will address next time, which is what we know. Each time you bring again that value of place and that individual knowledge and the community knowledge back to people who are not actually thinking in that way because they're caught up in their echo chambers. And that is why it is also such an important part of the process. Just this Friday, after 2 years deliberations and a process that was finally put in place by Simon Steele, Secretary General of the UNFCCC, on COP reform, myself and Johan and others have had ourselves heard and our recommendations brought forward. And one of those recommendations was, how can we bring citizens' voices back into policy making? Not only citizen voices, but how can we now address the fact
that, as you said, Rich, yes, multilateralism is under attack. Multilateralism has lost its way, but it's fundamental. What we need to do is readapt it for the 21st century. Readapting means bringing in those citizen voices as a key actor within the negotiating process. So let me just finish with the fact that we now have to realize how we actually join the dots between those global citizen voices, the national citizen voices, the community citizen voices, and the different gatherings that we have, whether it be town halls or whether it be citizen assemblies, and recognize the importance not only of the voice, but of the infrastructure, the architecture that we create in order to enable those voices to be heard, so that they are not just on a parallel path, but they're actually included within the process itself. And that is the journey that we are on together.
Right.
And that is what we need to continue to call for. There is an opening within the multilateral process, a recognition that not only are citizen voices fundamental, but also that that parallel track of ambitious coalitions of the willing that we have now seen on tropical forestry and that we're seeing also on fossil fuels should be included directly into the process in one way or another. So I just want to commend you, and I so appreciated the testimonies. Thank you. Because of their honesty, but this is what shows how important the process is in order to bring people back at the center of decision making. Thank you.